could take it because I'm very impressed now by the fact that they picked up the victory over top of Avant-Garde. Now, we didn't have the pleasure of watching Winstrike versus Avant-Garde, but I was told Norbert went huge. Whether or not he can replicate that, it's the question. But when you have a guy like Boomich, who's supposed to be hyped up as one of the heavier hitters here, you've got an Opera in the form of World Edit, who I've always been a fan of. I'm looking for that. The World Edit versus Mo show could be a good one here today.
So World Edit here from the A site, just went to jump spot A main, but there were no targets to show up early. He's now going to fall back to truck as Gambit get into positions. And it's fine for Winstrike. They know that this is the risk they run, but it is a retake setup with 3 people dedicated to the B site, ready to either push or rotate in. And they haven't gone for that info early, so World Edit is just going to spam safely from the back line, see if he can luck out a free kill. He doesn't do that, but he'll alert his team as the bomb goes down, but they now have to move in and try to defuse this bomb.
Yeah, they've got a smoke, Molotov, and flashbang to do so. World Edit's just going to hold off, wait for his team to sprint over quickly. All the while, Gambit haven't done anything elaborate here. There's no mid-boost to drop a player up in flank highway. They're very much on the bomb site and ready to hold. Molotov clears forklift, Axile falls down into the flames, and then Mo is deleted instantly, just like the rest of his team. Only Doja with a frag here for the terrorists, and he's goose-egging the bomb. So, it's an easy pickup and a clean retake from Winstrike.
Yeah, he's actually going to let it come quite close, but they had just over 10 seconds to be able to defuse that bomb, so they get on it just in time. And Winstrike, off that retake, it seemed as though they were pushing it to the limit by not having any information on B. Now, they did have 3 people in the site, but they didn't push, and they didn't have anyone on a flex rotate. They really just waited until they made sure the bomb went down on A, even though the smoke was the cross was smoked, and that was called. They wanted to make sure that they knew with certainty that it wasn't going to be some type of elaborate fake. And now we've got
hot potato.
Hot potato.
That was... Get it together, boys.
Yeah, they did. At the end of the day, got it together. 2 AKs on the board for Bondik and Mir. Common buy we see when teams get the bomb plant, even if the round goes south. And here are some Betway odds flying in. Very close odds here.
And I think that's fair.
Can't decide. The predictions seem to be, at least from the desk and you, at Winstrike.
Right. I kind of want to lean towards Winstrike just because their performance so far at this minor in particular is good, right?
Might be the most relevant data.
Yeah, and we quote, again, you know, that interview where they said, like, experience is great, but at the end of the day, you need that form. And currently, Gambit have the experience edge, not the edge in form. That belongs to Winstrike.
It seems like a very mature way of looking at things.
I wouldn't be shocked if this does go each team picking up their map pick and then leading us into the 3rd decider, which would be fun, because I'm all for rocking out on Dust 2. But that's a long time away, folks.
That's a big miss. They want to take mid here. They're going to go over the boost. And if they don't peek over soon enough, they won't even know that the Molotov missed. So player and vent, they could assume we're reboosted, but yeah, quick had no problem. Was able to get in and get out. Gambit shoot themselves in the foot by even attempting to molly the boost, considering it missed.
Norbert then takes his place, spots the Deagle barrel of Axile, so he charges him down. Now Mo up and over will respond back. So at least some kills exchanged here towards middle. 3 versus 2 edging to the favor of Winstrike. And we're going to see Waylander try to come join Boomich on the A site. Boomich sitting patiently back by quad. He's just going to play to deny the bomb plant. And sure enough, he does so. May die in the process, but that doesn't matter. Mo, you better stay alive or else it's going to be costly.
This AK is worth its weight in gold for this next round. There's no money for him. Would have been 850 and no AK and a save. And that could have actually influenced some type of awkward force up. So instead, he'll hold on to the armor, hold on to the AK, recycle it, get replenished HP, and we'll move into this round with just a little bit of a better chance to assist to either get a bomb plant or to maybe even win if he could potentially surmise the entries. So as I'm talking about that, Gambit are moving headfirst into the B site. Mo going wide, doesn't see a player crossing. The flash isn't good, but Mo, because of his spawn, is able to capitalize on that first kill for free.
Right, making use of that AK. Gets the M4 to the hands of Mir, who then follows forward and clears out Norbert. So the B site has fallen for the most part if it wasn't for World Edit covering this cross. It's going to be smoked off, and there's still time. Gambit can just pump the brakes here. Settle down slightly. They're actually going to refurbish the smoke, and wow. That grenade just falls on Bondic like an ugly hat. Mir has to get the bomb. He will. He's fine. Jumping across the gap. He moves past Kvik.
Bomb's planted default, potentially. Okay, no, he moves it over to the B main plant, make it a bit more safe. Molotov spreads. Doesn't seem to touch the feet of Mir just yet. So he can rest in position. It's a full-on retake.
Boomich waiting. Here's footsteps. Strikes perfectly timed. Catches both of the T's with their backs turned, and it's him and Kvik to actually get this retake under wraps. Now, you know, they talk about the experience on Gambit, and if you talk about experience in terms of years of Counter-Strike, sure, they still have the edge. But the two surviving counter-terrorists, those are top 8 major performers. The last 2 remaining players from that Quantum Bellator Fire core that went on a miraculous major run, you know, unprecedented stuff, and here they are going toe-to-toe with 2 major champions on the other side.
They held it down. It was a good attempt from Gambit. You like the strategy. Sometimes a B rush is all it takes, especially if there's going to be an op. This works at the highest level. If a player or a team wants to play a solo op in B, holding it down to try to get that opening kill on a player crossing or win the duel versus the T opper, well, that can backfire if CTs, or excuse me, if Ts run up against the wall, jump across, and rush the op down. And in that situation, it was 2 rifles, but Mo played it quite interestingly. Just kind of ran in straight, swung wide to the side. His teammates ate the flashes. He was in sunroom, and then he peeked out, and they didn't identify that, number 1, he was going to be out there. Number 2 was going to be a rush. And number 3, that he'd already found the safety of sunroom because he was so good on that spawn. So now, quick here, and Ko be locking down mid with the standard Molotov to boost, smoke to mid main. They're not going to have any initial targets. And you've got to decide how much utility you want to use to lock down mid as a CT. Sometimes early on it takes a full nade set, but it looks like the action's over at B. So much damage dealt from Waylander. A bunch first to Mo, but then he gets the kill on Axel as well.
Whoa, just barely Mir having that angle. Both him and Boomich dropped to exactly 15 HP each. Gambit really sizing up the whole map at the moment. Except for B. That's just left to its own devices. Mo's starting to shuffle over. Unorthodox boost.
Yeah, and off angles can be so important because these choke points are wide. They're very welcoming to a terrorist who wants to swing, to kill you at headshot, to try to take you down on default. People have gotten so good at clearing these angles that now sometimes employing a boost, even though it requires 2 people, and it's from a similar position, just that slight change in angle can make the world of difference. Boomich has also found a kind of interesting way to play the forklift. It's a little bit more of a volatile position. It's harder to fall back from. It's in between the seat and the back of the forklift, but he doesn't get spotted.
Nope. Fires off versus Bondic, tags him sure enough, but well, everybody's still up here on the exit. 10 seconds. Not very much time to play with, especially considering World that it's tucked away in the back of the bomb site, but Bondic's just going to try to plant the bomb. He's left alone, and he's got it. Reload's good. He's got Boomich over towards Fork, and he'll take Kvik with him. Lickety split on the headshot, and a defuse just as fast.
It's kind of nice to get that, at least that extra kill at the end of the round, but Winstrike win the round, which is most important, and the defuses will keep Gambit afloat. Another buy up instantly, before we even move on to see the replay. Waylander here starting things off strong, and Boomich found a good way to be useful. Ends up getting 2 kills. Doesn't get the 3rd, but yeah. They don't deny the plant. It's actually World that getting caught off guard at quad. Could have very easily lived in that situation. Yep. But as we've talked about many times, it's a game of moments, and sometimes you can get unlucky.
I gotta give props to Boomich just for staying alive there. You know, he was tagged up in his engagement with Mir through mid. Comes back for second servings, wants another fight, and this time he takes it quickly. Headshot instantaneous. Sprays the door and gets lucky with it. Oh, but then nails Mo as well. That's smooth, like butter, Mohan.
I mean, if opening the door was what they needed to win the round, they barely did that. So that's something. But
that's one of those plays where just everything goes your way.
How do you plan for that?
You see the movement take effect for the second kill, right? It's that one-off bullet from the spray that actually hits the headshot.
Yeah, he's running. You know, he's just trying to throw that spam in just as he falls back to make sure that they feel unsafe about peeking him, and he ends up getting the kill. Oh my God, another kill as well. 4 kills on this round, and it was just him working every part of the map.
What a beast.
Every part of the A site. Peeking into A main, he realizes once he takes that fight, it's fairly easy to threaten the fallback from the door. It's actually quite safe. A player who goes in the door is going to have to, or has to worry about fork, for example. But if they think that Boomich would be the fork player, then they can swing it open, no cares in the world, and then try to catch him on the fallback. But he was too quick and too aware. 4 CZs all the round for Gambit, and they are losing rounds tragically. So attention given to A, in particular Squeaky. But World Edit has the tightest peek possible on A main, and this kind of covers Squeaky as well. Probably doesn't want to be double scoped if that door opens up, but... And you know what? He doesn't have like immediate support. Boomich can kind of drift back and forth between mid on highway and help him at Squeaky. But if they pop, which they might do, it's going to be difficult. And also these mid cross smokes are here to hold his attention on highway so that door can come open.
Crisscross smokes are out, but obviously with Quick past the smokes, he knows it's just a ruse for the moment. There's that A split, shut down by Boomich again. Can't manage a third frag, but at least middle's been completely shut down. So Bondit grabs an op. He's got the bomb on his back, but he wants to take the players down beforehand. Wants to thin the numbers, cull the herd.
He wants to make a full round of it. This is, you know, it's viable. He's got an op.
And he knows where 2 of these players are at least. Eventually, number 5, Waylander's gonna come in from the door flank. Oh, hits the damage, can't quite get the kill. Imagine had he gotten Waylander or Quick, or excuse me, Norbert coming up from the wall. He gives himself so much more space to play with.
Talking to Jason earlier, he was just talking about how Bondic has been kind of the player who's had good performances for Gambit recently.
Right.
There it seemed like everything went wrong. Everything possible, to be honest. Had that player locked down on bomb wall, could have been an easy shot, ends up tagging the wall, misses an initial duel, but he has a lot of options. Gets that op at quad, and that can be fearsome, hard to deal with. This Boomich 4K so good, gotta see it twice.
I like that this time they included the random headshot kill where that stray bullet goes off.
You got extremely lucky.
Yeah, it's the one we missed the first time in the replay, so we're really dedicated here, Mohan. That's our Gambit, dedicated to the cause, dedicated to the hope of getting at least 1 round on the board. Eventually they'll crack through, you'd think.
I can't believe he just jump cleared that with an op. I'm not sure what he was actually expecting. Hopefully it was just a mouse wheel problem. Eyes trained at the back of A main, and the door doesn't come open, so Doja doesn't capitalize. When he probably could have. 6-0 for Winstrike, and they're keeping it simple. Light mid control. One player's moved over to Fur. And they're back in the vents. The late mid control didn't work so hot for Gambit last time. Fluffed a Molotov, and I'm not sure they know they did. Expect them to try it again. If they do take mid.
A lot of Molotovs still here for Winstrike to try and counter back any kind of an execute. So no surprise that we get one in response to this volley of smokes and flashbangs out from A main. That is 3 players main, 1 squeaky door. And a solo lurk over towards B main. 30 seconds on the clock. First spotted on the exit, and Boomich can't get a single kill. Norbert dies elsewhere, so that's going to thin out the rotation, but World Edit is still here, missing the off duel versus Mo immediately. Mo comes wide, also having his shots go stray. Prevents World Edit from getting away and leaves Waylander all alone here. Looks like Gambit have done it, Mohan. They're finally on the board.
Not bad, and a good round to do it. 4 alive, Mir surviving by the skin of his teeth, 2 HP, but that's what's really important, is that he survives. So now he's got 100, he's got some money left over, won't have to rebuy, and that is a spot of solace for them. They've got on the board. They will want to make it a 2 in a row if possible, but there's not anything in particular that they did differently, I feel like, with their A setup. They took their time, made sure that A main couldn't be cleared out, just avoided tackling that op early on as opposed to banging their head into a wall trying to fight it and then, you know, subsequently dying as they have been. But then they just went into a simple squeaky and A main split.
Ooh.
Wow, man.
Great grenade. And even a little follow-up damage off the molly.
That'll severely hinder the execute, obviously, but Mo up on the boost, takes quick out at mid, and this opens options up. In fact, it looks like they're going to go ahead and change it up.
Oh, doesn't see the second one right away, so Mir will escape with his life and a kill on top of it all. Meanwhile, Waylander's playing proactive at this B-bomb site. Waylander, a good individual player on Cash. You know, he's comfortable here. So even if this is the choice of his team, he should be the difference maker too.
And Dojo wants a fight, but he's not going to make it easy. World Edit knows where the danger can come. 2 players up, 50 seconds, and Doja's down to half HP, but it's not unfathomable that they figure out how to break into the site. They have gotten the bomb down many times.
Last bit of utilities out for Gambit, so they have to go off of this. There's no change in course at this point. Molotov shouldn't prevent any kind of a plant, but all right. World Edit still posted on the angle. They almost got him with the high ground here. Doja will catch Norbert, then hits a second swift headshot. This would be a 3K and a clutch for Doja. Finally coming alive here out of the squeaky door. Has no clue, though, where Waylander's at, because he had been seen all the way up in B main. Didn't anticipate the flank back through his own spawn. So Waylander will clutch this.
It's been a long time since we've seen a Doja clutch, and that's why he got hired to play this game in the first place. That would have been a cool one to bring it back, to roll back the years.
I feel like, you know, Doja has this kind of solo lurk play style to him. You know, I always think of like Ivy when it comes to train. That's a place that I always see Doja playing proactive and kind of doing his thing. I don't know if that necessarily works as well on Cash. I feel like Cash, you've got to be very active. You know, if you lose a portion of the map, you've got to be willing to push. And I feel like he's been pretty stagnant inside that squeaky door.
World Edit has been on fire. Waylander as well, actually. And Spoomich. I mean, they're all chipping in. And I think a lot of teams struggle to find consistency on Cash. I think partially because of how it feels the size of the map is. It feels like rotations are not... I think the rotations are quite intricate. They're just not quite as important or damning as they would be on a map like Inferno, for example, where sites are relatively unretakeable. On Cash, it's more forgiving. There's a lot more duels, I want to say, than you would expect on other maps. And you can push so many things on CT side that it feels like there's just this general air of volatility. Norbert here is imploring that right now, going for a push, and Axile trades it out, killing Waylander as well, opening a lane into the B site. But how much will he do by himself? The bomb is still defaulted at mid.
World Edit snuck his way into the depths of the B site too. So he opened up that lane, but then it kind of slowly shuts itself. Gambit don't look to really deal with it all too much.
We get the mid push, and the rotations are not quite in yet. The only thing counting against Winstrike right now is that Boomich only has the MP9 to hold on the site, but the spots are not too bad.
Obviously, the Molotov then tells them there's still at least one in B main, and that's at least taking the attention of 2 of the players here for Winstrike. Kvik's gonna hear the footsteps and the rotate. That immediately confirms to World Edit that he needs to get towards A. Boomich patiently waiting, but Dojo walks up on him, silently striking and not getting his kill. But the grenade will get the job done. Still, decent distraction. It's allowed for the rotation, and also the extraction of Gambit after their plant. They'll put 1 back in squeaky door and hold 2 on site.
They've got to take their time here. 2 AWPs. They do have a Molotov, and I'm not sure if there is a kit to be picked up on the site. But certainly, if there's no kills given soon, they're just going to call it quits because there's just too much to sacrifice. And it seems like they might just simply be holding for exits at this point. Both safe from the bomb radius, obviously. But there it is. A kill. And that takes away the majority of the players from Gambit here.
Ooh, but they're not going to be able to grandfather forward that double op setup. Just 1 sniper survives. Good fadeaway headshot, in fact, there from Gambit. So a second round, Mohan. It's not back-to-back. There is that one defuse in the midst of it. And speaking of defuses, of the 7 rounds Winstrike currently have, 5 of them by way of defuse. So clearly Gambit, despite having this 5-round deficit, they're doing enough. You know, they're getting their foot in the door. It's just holding it open long enough to close out the round that's the issue.
And that is the name of the game on Cash, and that's particularly conducive to the way that Winstrike are allowing the game to go, where the A site is wide open a lot of the times. Boomage can go ham, World Edit can get a multi-kill, but for the most part, if the T's force their way in, Winstrike will allow it. Now, an Offer Quick gets a kill, but everybody else has pistols, but that doesn't matter if it's going to be a 5v2 20 seconds into the round.
Ridiculous. They know that Axile's been opping over towards B main, so that's where they try to counter him with Quick. He wins the op despite not being that primary opper. So good on him to open it up. And within the chaos, we get these follow-up kills with pistols. It's separate 1v1s all over the place. And only Mo trying to respond back here. This would be a killer economic reset that leaves Gambit strapped for cash.
Another thing that takes away from the consistency for cash is just how strong your ecos are.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can just speak to the feeling that you get on certain maps, right? Like, there's certain maps where you feel like, okay, I've just got more of a chance to win around with pistols. I feel like I have more options with a pistol. There's just so many CT avenues of interest for guns that aren't as good as M4s. And there's a round where a lot of these kills go down on different parts of the map. It's not a rush that's shut down by spraying CZ. It's one kill here, one kill there. And there was an op as well. But Mo's not quite out of this. On for the ace, 3-piece so far. A little bit of time remaining with this player under vents. Yeah, that's all they need.
Just waiting, creeping and crawling underneath the exit. Grabs himself an AK and chucks it to World Edit. Surely gonna trade with Quick.
The most impressive part, I think, is that they haven't even had to get to... They haven't had to perform any kind of expensive map control tactics where they smoke deep B main, Molotov, sunroom. They're doing very light pushes where they're using a single flash or just peeking dry with an op on A main. They're getting a lot of control for cheap.
Yep, being cost effective. Holding on to those tidbits of utility. Bondic now knows. Quick fires off a single round of 5.56, then creeps back to the white box. Smokes in mid, eventually gonna fade. Remember, Bondic's alone here. Gambit very much poised to strike this A site quickly. Oh, Boomage, bad bank smoke. Still just gonna play all around it. And he's not even gonna get one kill. Mir slams him back with that CZ. And like we talked about, Winstrike, they've been fine going for the retakes. Just allowing Gambit in, the way that Bondic was just afforded space towards mid.
Yeah, they leave it to Boomage. And Boomage only leaves them an MP9, so there's not even a lot for them to post up with in this post plant. If it was an op at quad, maybe they'd have options. But look at this, all players melted. Mo sneaks out for a nice 1D, gets 2 in fact. Those are some quality shots.
Yeah, just pops him. Broken jaws over towards Truck. Good little effort. That's 2 back-to-back rounds now where at least Mo's, you know, curbing the cash of Winstrike. It's not enough to put rounds on the board, but it's at least keeping them honest.
9-2. Winstrike have survived another eco round, and Gambit will have back-to-backs. Pistol and flash for Doja, Deagle for Bondic, but most players around 2K, Mo saving for that op, and we'll see what the strategy is going to be. They've had a lot of success on T side killing players who are pushing B main. It's varied, but on an eco, this might be a good time to try it.
Bert trades out after 1. World Edit just playing the sidearm here. Well enough, but still, Deadly Deagles coming out of Gambit for a moment.
Yeah, and again, they're so light on the nades. They're either relying on just like an op to go and peek, or they try to catch the cross of sunroom, or they push late with 1 flash. A lot of these things can be countered by a rush. And I mean, if it's the pistols running headfirst into an M4 and a flash comes out from the T's, it's kind of just, who knows? Who knows who's gonna win that duel? And you're willing, you just have less to lose, right? You're just willing to run and try that. So it's totally fine. I think they should probably try to get on the rifle round. I think they're blinded by the fact that they're getting lucky by getting the bomb down at A, but the post plants haven't been strong enough to secure them a lot of the rounds that they need to convert on, and also they're getting melted on their way in for the bomb plants, and when the bomb goes down, they're almost always lower on numbers. I think one of the key points for winning the rounds on A side on cash is not only getting the bomb down, but getting it to like a 4v3 as opposed to a 5v5 or a 4v4. That can be CT-sided. If I have 4 players who have saved all their utility, like say Boomich goes down with an MP9 on the site, then you can Molotov out quad, you can Molotov out forklift, you can smoke A main, and then you can Molotov out default, and then there's barely any spots for the T's to stand in and fight. Although it looks like, yeah, time's ticking down, bombs down. Still not a good chance to win, but oh my god. That op pick threw him through a loop.
Poor Waylanders just tagged up with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So, Kvik tries to cull back the 3v5, and it's just not going to happen. This is Gambit with a finally convincing round. You know, we talked about it, how it comes down to these closer situations. Winstrike normally having a numbers advantage on the retake attempt when bomb is finally planted. That's not the case here in round 13. Near flawless, in fact, from Gambit. And I think this plays nicely off of what we just saw from them with their pistols, right? We talked about that pistol rush with the flashbang combination. You know, they saw some openings based on fast timing at the B site. They do that again with weapons, and it all begins with a run boost op pick versus Norbert.
Yeah, and unlike with the A site, if you have 5v5 retaking B, I mean, that can mean almost nothing. You know, sitting on quad, I mean, sitting on heaven, you could smoke B main, you could smoke checker and stuff like that, but there's just so many ways that you can take damage sitting up there, especially if the early picks come. World Edit is looking for the kill. I don't think they care to even get the double op setup, so it's not going to be too much of a concern. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Winstrike have taken so much damage, especially from that last P250 round. They can't rebuy the op. They can't even buy M4s. They've actually decided, I think now, that they're going to just save. Upgrading a pistol, Waylanders got a smoke, so this could be a good chance, a way back into the game for Gambit. An eco round, actually, for them.
And seeing as Winstrike had already won a round by saving a single op, I'm sure that is kind of a sigh of relief here from Gambit. You know, they've completely cleared out their options. Still finish this with a 10-5 half. Boomich, what are you up to, buddy? Ah, spotted by Axile. I was going to say, if he lets them all cross, at least it's info. Winstrike could sprint back to the A site, but instead they've flanked from behind. They've dropped one opper, and World Edit even through smoke finds Doja. Just tapping away with the USP, gets lucky, but then his luck runs dry. 10-4, and a final 15th round is upon us.
It's also not going to be quite a difficult round here. There's not that much money for Winstrike, no op in play. And they've used a lot of their aggressive options so many times, at least Gambit could be potentially ready for anything that they try to do. And it won't be any more elaborate because they're so low. They can't even afford Molotov, so some things that we see sometimes are like a deep Molotov on A main, a flash, a double peek, and then a player and his teammate who refreshes smoke to hold on to it for 30 seconds or even more. But it hasn't been called for in this match so far, and this round they won't have the utility to be able to try it. 3 players on A. Mid control out for Gambit. They go for it quick, not relying on the checker. Molotov. Waylander wins his duel one more time on Doja, who's playing from Sunroom. I'm surprised they're not aware of that crack peek through the smoke because he's been in that exact same spot more than once.
Yeah. Doja may be caught off by it, having not been this consistent B player. But everybody else is behind him. Gambit, they're definitely on the cusp of this bomb site. Norbert's just waiting for the flashbang to sail through the heavens, and the timing's there. Peeks out into Axile, now has confirmation that there's at least 2 players more funneling forward towards him. And Kvik comes in again, just hitting this timing. Throwing themselves into the fight. Winstrike have a man advantage and a massive HP edge as well. But we've seen Mo in some tantalizing clutch positions. He's going to have one last chance here. Peeks wide, and Boomich ready for him. Now he knows, though, because he's dodged those bullets. And remember, bomb's still his. Although, it's off the smoke that World Edit's had enough. Puts a close to the first half, folks, and so it's 11-4. We'll see you for the second half after a very brief break. A near unshakable CT side started off strong for Winstrike, but we had a little opening there. Gambit managed 4 rounds on the T side of their opponent's map choice, and now they'll be on the defensive. Launders and Scrawny coming at you live with the second BO3 from the CIS Minor.
They look good for so many reasons. They had everything working their way, and it was a couple of good B rushes that netted Gambit a couple of rounds, but apart from that, it seemed like they needed more than just luck to net them any wins. Here's the setup for Gambit, 3 towards B, similar setup to what we saw from Winstrike. Probably won't be too much of a surprise, to be honest, but would they run into B if they knew that there were 3 players dedicated? I don't know.
Exile just tucked away in the corner too. Winstrike not going all in on this. You know, they've got time to play. I'm sure they realize with a substantial lead like this, pistol seems all the more valuable.
Is Exile going to get cleared? Oh, he doesn't. Norbert is just worried about checkers the whole time and totally blanks out.
Exile even gets in a follow-up frag as well. So down goes Waylander, down goes Norbert. Quick, Boomich, and World Edit remain, 2 of which will push through B main, and then Bomb on its own goes in. Mirror in the back of the site, trying to use flames for cover. Exile unable to trade, and now Quick has a bit of an advantage here, you'd think. His head was on full display, and it gets popped. Sometimes that can help. In this case, clearly not. Boomich, wrapping around through mid, has no teammates left by the time he gets into position.
And this could officially be a long match for sure. 5 rounds now for Gambit as they win a pistol. That is a good way to start this half after having kind of an alarmingly, I don't want to say alarmingly bad, because it was more Winstrike being good than anything else.
Yeah.
But they did have problems. They did look somewhat lackluster, and ultimately, numerically, that came up very short. So, yeah, this is at least going to give them a second wind and alleviate some of the stress of having to think about losing a pistol round into ecos, and therefore sometimes having to make the tough decisions as to whether or not you want to buy early. Pistols here for Winstrike, USP of Quick, a Deagle for World Edit, but not a single piece of utility as they stare in the face of smokes for the next few seconds.
Already having lost 1. Exile again opening up shop early in these rounds. You know, even despite it being an 11-4 half, I think it's easy to forget the fact that we had so many after-plant positions for Gambit in the previous half. They were economically reset in the middle of it too. So you take those 2 things into consideration, there were openings for a closer score. Do not write these guys off. I know Winstrike have not. 1 Deagle, 1 Glock. Oof. And a Deagle's all you need.
That's nasty. And you know what? It could still get more hairy. There's a player right here at White Box. World Edit wants to fight him. He's out in the schoolyard. Shirts are off. They can't hit the shots. Is all the damage mitigated? Well, Bondic will stay peaked with the FAMAS. Survives for a moment. And will eventually get taken out, but the best way to trade is to never have to see your opponent when you do it. So Nate comes over top the White Box. Round ends, and Gambit survive, but just barely. That actually might hurt them quite a bit. They invested quite heavily. The M4 is a rebought. Mo and Bondic have compromised. There's not going to be an op for Gambit. Winstrike have the full AK buy. Pretty decent utility. Let's see this T side.
Full-fledged guns all around. 0 ops in play at the moment. All good. Bomb left towards spawn. Mo gonna get close to mid, however. Oh, just dodging those bullets. They zing right by. Good lineup. He actually hits the mark, but just clearly not in the face of Bondic. Still, that'll wake you up.
First boost event. Be unsure if they realize that this is a potential threat. Norbert's got the job in Squeaky to either dish out a ton of spam damage or take some. It looks like
do both.
Both, yeah. So annoying to be able to, or to have to sit on default or against the wall behind default and still be risk getting spammed.
Right.
You're still like out in the open, but that's the only place you can kind of feel safe and still feel like you're doing your job at the same time on the A site. Right around bomb wall, you can spot for the jump out, but Exile's got that covered from this position on fork. This is the angle I normally use. You can see right under This tiny pixel angle of players cross. You're relatively unspammable. He gets mollied out of position, but takes one with him.
Right, at the very least. Boomich catches one as well, but Mo has slipped into mid-main. However, A-Site falls, it fumbles, and we have Gambit now on the retake. Clear utility advantage for them in this attempt. Neither CT currently possessing a kit, but there is one just here by the barrels. That'll help. Shaves off half the bomb. Now that first smoke, Banks meant to block off A main, so Waylander's gonna have to come out into the open. Perfectly done here. That allows Mo for an easy frag. And it's just whirled at it in the depths of quad. Fires off and reveals himself. So now it's a 2v1. Doja over the top is how they're gonna dunk down on him. So Gambit, successful 2v2.
Well handled. Yeah, they used their nades perfectly. The smoke down to A main, and then the Molotov to molly anybody who might be standing at Fork, or the A main guy who sees that he needs to has now been called to action because he doesn't want to be left in a 1v1 with 10 seconds where he has to spam blindly through a smoke while his teammate is alone at quad. So comes out right into the fire, and the fire of the bullets of the players who are already up at bomb wall. So good 2v2 for sure. And it does come down to utility at the end of the day. 4 rounds of difference as Gambit climb their way back up now on CT side, but show that they have a CT side. Winstrike come close, a lot closer on the A site in the after plant than some of the rounds that Gambit had. But that won't tell us a whole lot. Can they do it again? And can they actually finish? Definitely a big question. Oh, the Deagle shots are not that good, but good enough.
Gets him on the 6th. Bondic floating around the bomb site, has support from Highway. But the terrorists eject right back into A main. They'll scuffle back. This is going to keep Gambit in a bit of a transition. B site becomes a little more susceptible here. They could split it through mid or just go straight up through main. Oh, man, another dirty Deagle. Boomich is tagged up low, and Mo locks down Highway. This cuts off any kind of event play, but he nearly extends into 2 waiting Ts. It's the mid play that ends up costing them that man advantage. And Waylander doubles back towards A. There's only one member there. That's Bondic, just tucked away on fence. And Quick seems to be pulling the attention into B.
Yeah, if Quick manages a kill, I expect a heinous rotate out of the site. Oh, this could be it. They just have to wait a little bit longer. Quick doesn't want to die. Oh, he could just go ahead and nail another shot. There's no choice from Bondic but to go for this. And he ends the round by himself. 3 kills on this eco off of a lurk.
What a play. 23 and 10 now for the young Lithuanian. Whirled at it, helping out here towards middle 2. Young, a relative term, but experience speaks not louder than aim.
That's it. I mean, Mo just doesn't think he has the audacity to go that far after getting the kill. Thinks that it's probably going to be in afterplant. They might try to recover the gun, but not peek into CT. But Quick's not even done there. He just goes ahead and finishes off everybody in the server. Deagle in hand for Bondic.
What a way to just blast back into control of the game as well. I mean, look at the end result. Gambit, full save.
Got nothing. Yeah.
So this is going to be Winstrike tearing them apart in the 20th round.
Ridiculous.
That right there, a turning point. Round 19.
Looked promising for a second with that, strong rifle round, the good retake in the 2v2.
Yeah.
Eco.
It looked promising as well when we started to watch Gambit piece together the mid control. We had Winstrike with an opening, but then it fell back into Gambit's advantage when they used those guns to exert the mid hold. If it wasn't for Quick, I mean, Winstrike don't win that round, unarguably.
Not even an upgrade pistol to work with, so, Hope is at an all-time minimum. At least on that round, it was Winstrike on an eco, but they had a Deagle, and that was a critical factor. Here, we're probably just going to see some USBs getting melted. First one goes down, 1 left on truck, default guys out of the round, and the 2 rotators have been spotted.
Norbert's not stopping for anybody, but Doja puts him to his bed. Looking for one more on the USB. Quick's tagged up, but he's going to survive this one all right.
This is a great round to try to go for mid control, because if they're aware Gambit are going to be relatively low, but most certainly going to try to buy, They know that it's going to be hard for them to put together smoke Molotov flashes and deal with the initial grenades that come flying over the boost at them. And there's also always the threat of throwing the counter smoke on a boost to make sure that the Molotov goes out before it's even useful. And not only that, with 3 people up at mid, that's a huge risk in and of itself. Not a lot of CT teams like to do that because it's kind of weird. It's like a part of the map that you're supposed to be able to get to safely, but T's have great spawns to take fights, and then you don't have great spots to stand once the smokes have dissipated. So you can feel it feels quite T-sided at times, and especially on rounds like this where the utility is also in their favor. That being said, they play this round out slowly. They also have an advantage. I think the only thing Gambit would like to see is some type of rush, so they can minimize the amount of utility that they'll have to navigate through to try to find their fights. Counter smoke for the boost. Smoke to block off highway box. And boom, it spots his first target. Takes Mo down, full blind, and actually all alone.
Boomich does not shy away from exiting mid quick. Thanks to that flashbang. It's a very lopsided fight. Waylander moves past Boomich. He's going to take that forward position in middle, just lock down the white box, keep eyes on Z as Winstrike rotate into B. And who's there for them? Mir, committed to the corner. This is actually a position in front of the bomb site, right? It's not behind the oranges, but rather straight there in the garbage pile.
Oh, splits out. Checker is going to counter this position so hard. He's in a very volatile spot. He's got a teammate to take attention away from him, but the flash is too good.
Yeah, luckily Doja at least able to get a 2K for his efforts. Meanwhile, we've got Boomich just straight through that CT smoke. Doesn't shy away from the fight at all. World Edit last man up, and he too toppled by Doja. Good round from Doja.
Oh, yeah.
4 frags.
Holy smokes. No, Doja almost went positive on that round alone. 15 kills off of that play by him. And that's kind of crazy. It looked like that was going to be an easy entrance into B. Mir's in a tough spot without... first of all, they didn't have mid control. So he's aware that not only do they not have checkers, but there's a very realistic possibility that people could come through vents. Now, they smoke off B main so that he can have a chance at that fight. But again, he can't fall back. You know, that's a spot where you maybe get one. He's relying heavily on his teammate to deliver. And he does. He gets 1 kill. Another shot at it for Winstrike. Slowed it down one more time. There's a lot of good reasons to do that. It comes down to 2 players last round. It's expensive for Gambit. Behind to Broke here.
Yeah, all on the line. This victory from Gambit in this round particularly would really give them a chance back into an even game. Round 19 with Quick's 3K was a turning point. This 22nd round could be one as well. So keep your eyes glued, because Winstrike are starting to get closer and closer to the A site. They could hit at a moment's notice. Mo, unbeknownst to him, has 3 targets in A main. Little flash on the corner, easily dodged, double scopes inwards, and he's being toyed with. But he's not here to play games. Rather, takes Waylander down by name, and Norbert swings door wide. That is how they've cleared the offer from the corner. It's up to Axile now to hold this alone. He's got rotations just behind him, but Boomich goes over the box, at least to spot, and he sees one on Truck, winning the duel up close, nearly having Bondic added to the tally, but Mir in mid is key, because it cuts Quick off from World Edit, who's now left alone.
It really just trickled into that site.
Yeah, way too slow it seems.
Wow, World Edit, yeah, Blind doesn't know where he is, gets killed immediately. Gambit deal with that nicely. I'm surprised, though, that Winstrike just didn't focus their attention on crossing once that first kill came out. The door swung open, kill was had, and then it's time to group up and trade. Yeah, they lost an entry in Waylander, but it's here is the time to support Norbert. Those trades could have come more easily, and Boomich gets 1. But then again, you know, Bondic walks onto the site. It's not a great angle to walk into. If someone comes swinging around default, they have Peeker's advantage on you. They're going to be more prepared to hit their shot, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, of the 4 players up there still, though, for Winstrike, I mean, very much separate 1v1s. You could see it. Axile comes out quick, or excuse me, not Axile at all. Norbert comes swinging out from door first, sectioned off entirely. Boomich trades, one to the same. World Edit the entire time over towards Forklift, really relying on the first 2 entries to kind of get that bomb in at least. And then, most notably, we have the mid flank shut down by Mir. You know, if that highway player gets flanked because of the white box push from Winstrike, then things really hit the fan. But they kept it under control, and they've got this under wraps for now. Nearing double digits, Gambit versus just Pistols should certainly take that 10th. Hopefully they do it without losses. So far, so good.
An absolutely key hold. No doubt about it. Here it is. They earn themselves the eco. Waylander's creeped his way out mid, or sorry, out of A. Doesn't know if there's one fence, but doesn't bother to clear. It's going to take a small risk here. However, Axile's too prepared. Blocks on it. It's going to be good enough as well. And Winstrike win the round 5 alive. Or sorry, Gambit win the round 5 alive. All the money in the world now. Barely used any of their utility as well. So we'll rebuy slightly and Winstrike to try again. One of the only rounds they've won in this half so far is actually the eco. How many rounds have they taken? 2. Okay.
The 4th and 5th of this half in particular.
So they ecoed Gambit, and then they converted an anti-eco.
Yep. No actual gun round wins as of yet, but they'll try their hand once more here in the 24th. Already just exploding their way out mid. This one's got a little tenacity behind it. Boomich ferociously pushing up highway. Gonna try to get into the mix. The flashbangs come flying over, and Axile seems ready for it. Unable to get himself the 2nd kill. Waylander will trade straight away, bonding back behind red box, trying to isolate duels, and he's done it yet again. The 1v1s are separate, and Gambit slowly but surely closing this lead.
We can see, you know, what this team was prepared to do. Their CT sides are much stronger, it seems, in the rush. The tempo change is nice from Winstrike, keep it fresh, but that's not enough. Gambit shut him down. The individual duels are there. They're one. Axile contributes. Bondic goes hard on the A site, those 3 kills. The Molotov comes into play, 2 kills with just his straight-up rifle. And Gambit, again, have earned themselves another eco. This is where it gets worrying for Winstrike, who looks so strong just a few rounds ago.
Whoa, quick play again. Mir gonna let Doja die. Falls down into the bomb site. Can't actually get another. Now they're gonna swarm him. The numbers are here to the advantage of Winstrike most certainly. Oh, and Kvik with another dirty deagle. I mean, he was the reason they kicked into this game on the T side to begin with. Like you said, that eco and the anti-eco to follow, the only rounds they've managed to get.
Looks like this round's not quite over. So they didn't invest in the utility. It looks like Gambit are honestly really good when it comes to these late round retake type situations, but the 1-deeks have just been so unbelievably impactful. There's just been an enormous amount of them, like it's ridiculous. They won an eco, they converted the anti-eco after that. Now they've won another eco. And if Gambit had won all those rounds, this game would be over, basically.
Yeah.
But instead, Winstrike are 2 away from closing it out, and they haven't even had to win a real rifle round in this T side.
So it's only going to take one of them to at least secure OT. And they come in with a blossoming buy. All sorts of money still behind them on top of it, so it's not going to be a hard reset. Always made possible by those sorts of eco wins.
Seem confident about this fast mid play. Gonna try it one more time, even though it fell on its face last round. Boomich comes out with the opening kill. There's no one in Z to flank the highway players, but it's actually on Winstrike to decide if they even want to do this. They've fallen back now, close to the vents. Reverse boost is out. Who wins this duel?
Depends. Waylander seems cerebral and keeping his eyes on it, but no, turns his head at the worst possible moment. Luckily, World Edit ready to trade.
That's what's really important, right? We saw a lack of trades when they came onto the A site, and as long as they keep the man advantage, even if it's only by 1, the post plant will be easy.
Someone will have to double back for bomb before they execute out. And of course, you can see Doja still now just floating around the CT spawn, kind of keeping his options open, giving up the B bomb site so that either they can transition into the save, because I highly doubt they go for the retake with just 1 kit and a Molotov. Doesn't seem to be enough. So a bit of a gamble here from Gambit. Then again, Doja has moved his way slowly closer to B. If you can just drop the bomb, buy some time for Gambit to rotate. There's nobody at least in middle dedicated to the front side of it, say White Box or Z from Winstrike, that can cut off the rotations.
They're not prepared for a retake is the problem. So Axile's the only one with utility, and Doja dies playing a rotator position.
Right.
That means 1 foot out the door, and he ends up dying without getting a kill. So, you know, that's the worst case situation. It's immediate save call from Gambit. Maybe if he lived, they come over to the B site, but they are so far away. I mean, ultimately, it just comes down to maybe it's just a gamble for them in their mind. They get info on B, but they ultimately are looking for some kind of A hit. I'm not sure. Winstrike pull out that that rifle round finally. And Gambit don't have money.
No, they need this save. Winstrike seems to know it. The thing is, remember how Winstrike get this ball rolling. They have extra cash. They can afford to lose a couple bodies if it means taking Gambit to the grave with them. Fantastic flashbang. Boomich right there with the timing. 15-11, 4 map points here for Winstrike's map choice. And it's looking good here for the boys in black.
4 subs on the board. 2 Famuses, a UMP. Mo bought down to 0, got a CZ out of it, and Doja's got 1900, doesn't know how to spend that best. Some solid trades, and you know what? Doja dies through a spam through CT spawn, so it's not like he flagrantly ran through a CT smoke with a right click to flash, turned out backwards, hoping to make a hero play. He died trying to spam safely, and so, you know, that's something. But ultimately, did they have a plan to win the round if Winstrike went B? It's not clear that's true. Now they've got to start off with a force, come back into this with some more rifle rounds. Gambit didn't look out of it completely on the CT side. They've won some pretty good rounds here.
I mean, if anything, Gambit looked better at the start of the CT side than Winstrike did. Think of the amount of retakes Winstrike were having to throw. Even if it was a part of their plan, you know, they were giving up more footing. Winstrike had been closed out of so many of these T rounds of theirs until they slip in these eco wins twice. You know, you can afford a mistake, but it's a big one to make ×2. They'll go for the boost. Mir, one of only 2 rifle players here for Gambit in round 27. The other one being behind sandbags in mid. Utility out towards the A site. Axile's going to hear it. Doors swung wide as well, so this confirms 2-pronged assault. But what kind of a commitment? That's the question. So far, none at all. They've lost Kvik over towards the B site. Mo's going to get boosted straight into the face of World Edit. That tells them there should be a second man near. Boomich looks downwards. Needs to clear the corner. Will. Instantaneous headshot. He gets dinked in the process, sure, but at least they've got that man advantage back for Winstrike. A rotation from Gambit towards A does get ahead of the bomb. Doja hot on the heels, but Boomich seems cerebral.
Doja, he seems wary. He's not getting caught off guard just yet, but he's got to make it to A at some point.
20 seconds up. Good timing there from Axile. World Edit trades. Nicely done. Waylander knows he's beneath him, but Mir is going to make the difference. Boomich is going to come charging up from highway, has to sprint if he wants the round, and it's just not going to happen. Mir, the difference maker, 4K in a crucial round.
That's from Mir, for sure. Yeah, if he dies on the A site, Doja's locked out of position, can't even rotate, and he starts off the round from bent. It's the man to make it a 5v4. It's his teammates to die in the middle of the action. Obviously comes in clutch right here. Playing players from 3 different parts of the map, just out in the open at quad, or out in the open at fork. Fortunately for Winstrike, they can still buy on the back of this. Mo also gets this opening kill. Little bit of damage done from the utility. Winstrike trade for mid control.
Is it worth it? That's the question. They've at least gone ahead and kerneled the defense. They can't push past the white box. Mo's got his op honed in. But they could very effectively split B. And that's when both of these ecos have happened. You know, all the openings from Winstrike, just like the T side of Gambit, the successful rounds seem to come with a start at B. The longer they wait, the more likely Gambit will start shuffling their feet closer. most curious. Didn't see anybody come past sandbags, but knows mid could be that of Winstrike's. Sure enough, the vent split ready to go. Good call by Mo to get himself back here. Starting to shuffle around though, and now he's going to be smoked off. Nope, runs back in. Molotov at his feet, completely blind. That's going to cost him. A little too much shuffling going on there from Mo, and the rest of Gambit are so pinned into the back of the bomb site. Doja around the box, tagging up Norbert, trying to hold off, trying to get that rotation inwards, because here comes Bondic from the heavens, attempting to skewer the site, but nobody gives up a fight except for possibly World Edit. Over towards B main. He has a read on this, and it's a crucial kill. It looks like Winstrike have done it, using this B bomb site for 3 successful rounds on a T side that was coming up flat-footed. But Bondic, an incredible clutcher. Unfortunately for him, half the time now gone. No smoke to block off the op, no Molotov to flush the feed of Checkers, so he just has to dry run in, and that's never gonna happen. Considering the first half score, it is a decent comeback from Gambit, but it's still ultimately a loss. And Winstrike will have map 1. Map 2, the choice of Gambit coming up next, folks. We'll see you there. Don't go anywhere.